Okay, my kind.
Okay,
we're live. I think we're live now. It's still sending data. And we're live. Hey everybody, we are live. Good to see you. Hopefully everybody's doing well on this awesome, very, very hot evening. Yeah, hope you're all doing well. Good to see you. Welcome PJ, thank you for being here. Thank you Arwen for seeing you. Hey Jeff, good to see you. There's a few others in chat, but yeah, they haven't chatted. I think there's 12. And hi to Michael, how are you doing in Discord, mister? I think he's still on mute.
Yeah, you always catch me on mute. I'm alright, how you doing?
That's good to see you all. Thank you for joining us, Michael. Hi, Alan Naustrand, good to see you. So the topic for discussion tonight is, perspective. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the Blackpool Drop, because the Globers still believe it's physical drop because they ignore everything optical. I'm going to be presenting another. I'm going to be presenting another side of the argument that I'm going to try and explain to the Globers why it's actually just optical and not physical drop. So I'll put up a poll. Blackpool Drop, is it only optical? Yes 50%, no 50% after 10 votes. So yeah, let's get those votes going. Please hit the like button and share so we can get it to more people. Yeah, I think let's just start getting into the FE debunk globe spirit again. Hey Ryan S, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here at the mic. Thank you for coming. You guys all rock. So I thought I'm gonna start this up with just a little joke from Ranty, you know. So you've all probably seen this with Ranty. It's just a little joke because he obviously is not in the flat earth scene anymore, but it just made me laugh when I just saw this again.
If you take a picture of a 6-foot human stood next to a 5-foot human, it doesn't matter where you take that picture from. Unless it gets too far away and it's too pixelated and it's just a few pixels. But this isn't pixels. This is not pixels. We're not talking pixels here, we're talking beautiful photography. It wasn't taken with a crappy picture with low resolution. This is a high definition photograph. We can definitely see that the 6-foot human that is Blackpool Tower and the 5-foot human which is Dow Crag are in equal. You can see exactly where they are. There's
you guys just hear what he said. He said a photograph, a digital photograph is not pixels. That was his argument of why that is exactly where it is, and that's why it is, because he was trying to have the argument, no, it cannot be optical because this is where it is, not pixels, but that's what digital is, it's pixels. Hey Plain Truth, good to see you. Goldie, good morning, great to see you. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Ranty's kind of veered off totally to another type of thing. I don't really keep intact with him anymore, but he is doing well, so I'm happy for him. Although I can see he's struggling to find topics because he's trying to find all the time what the people are interested in. There's only so much that you can keep the people interested in a certain topic. The nice thing about Flat Earth, it's what you call evergreen topic, so it's always going to be. It doesn't matter, you can carry on, you can recycle arguments, you get new arguments every day, which is really exciting. Hey Lumpy Gas, good to see you, thank you for joining. It's great to see so much of you here. So anyway, yes, a pixel is a contraction in the term picture element. So this is a digital image. Excuse me, Eli, julle, asseblief, ek is besig. Slaap. Anders gaan julle kamer toe, okay? Okay? Yeah, children. Anyway, just like mosaic on a wall, though a digital photograph looks smooth and continuous, just like the regular photograph, it's actually comprised of millions of little tiny squares, which is a pixel count. Okay, so anyway, that was just a joke showing Ranty doesn't actually have a clue what he's talking about, just like most Globers, where they do actually know, then they rather just stay dishonest. Hey, good to Clevis, good to see you. Randy is the pixel thief, exactly. So yeah, what is pixel? It's simply that's a pixel, and when you zoom out, then you see it better. That's why what they call pixelated, if the pixels are not, yeah. So it's a minute area of illumination on a display screen where the mini of the image is composed. This camera scans photograph and encodes the image into pixels. That's why you get RGBs and everything. TB, yay! The Glover says the tower can't be lower than the mountains, but the picture of perspective debunks them. Exactly, TB, 100% agree. It's all just optical. You are what you is. Some things drop over a certain unspecified distance according to FE. Except the horizon. Somehow that rises up relative to eye level. FE logic. No, you are what you is. Okay. That is just you having some kind of non-understanding of how it works. Perspective has convergence zones. So everything above the convergence zone converges downwards to the convergence zone. Everything below the convergence zone converges up. Excuse me. Slaap. Nee. Slaap asseblief. As jy weer raas, gaan jy na kamer toe. Dankie, lê en slaap. Anyway, back to the thing. So, convergence. So, what happens is if something's further away, it's literally rising relative to eye level into the convergence. Now, if something has a larger angular size because it's closer, it's going to occult the further away. So that's why sometimes you see the limited angle is further, and that means the horizon is further than the object. Very, very simple stuff. We'll probably have to touch on that later on again because, yeah. No, you are what you is. The horizon rises relative to eye level, doesn't physically rise. This is where you guys have problems understanding. You don't need to straw man our arguments. Anyway, I just thought I would share that. Then I want to share this with you. This is from a very, very awesome photography program on YouTube. I've been subbed to them for quite a while. I really do enjoy this. And I've actually been wanting to show this to you guys for a while. I want you guys to pay attention on what is going on here. Obviously, we don't really agree. I don't really 100% agree with everything he's presenting though, but I will show you why. But these guys are really awesome with the content, and I do really would advise anybody who's interested in photography and things to subscribe to them. Very, very awesome content. Let's get to it.
And you've got to stay still, okay? You mustn't move. You see?
This is his daughter. She's going to be the subject, and they're going to be in relation to, with focal length and distances to the tower, well, the church in the background. So this in relation to Blackpool Tower is going to be, let's say, Dow Craig or whatever, and she's going to be Blackpool Tower. But I'm just going to show you the relationships, what they're doing with using different focal lengths at the same distances.
See this header that you're standing on? You mustn't move from where you're standing, okay? Because I need you to stay a fixed distance.
You heard that? He needs her to stay at a fixed distance. So this would be the fixed distance from, let's say, Blackpool Tower against the mountains in the background.
From the church.
So obviously they do not move.
So what I'm going to do is we've got a variety of different focal lengths. The widest being 12 millimeters, the longest being 200 millimeters. So what?
You see, 12 millimeters to 200 millimeters, different focal lengths. So we can see the differences when he moves in the distances.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a series of shots, and I'm going to double my focal length each time. So I'm going to start at 12, and then we're going to go 24, 50, 100, 200.
Okay, so you guys understand that? You're going to start at 12, and it's going to just keep doubling until he gets to 200, and it's going to keep it at the same distances. Obviously move back again, more distances, and do the same again. Okay.
And each time, I'm going to also double my distance from my beautiful foreground subject here. And then we'll see what that effect has on how big and small the church becomes.
Now remember, keep this as reference. Look how big this church is in relation to where she is now, with how close we are standing towards her.
So, first one, I'm going to go 2 meters from my foreground subject, which is about here. and I'm going to shoot at 12 millimeters.
Okay, 12 millimeters at 2 meters away.
So let me do this one here. You can smile if you want to. I mean, it's up to you.
Sorry, I do have to pause every now and then. We don't want any copyright strikes. Literally just want to make a point with this. So hope you guys are paying attention, Globers. Again,
I'm going to
really
come even
awesome.
closer, actually. I'm going to go to 1 meter.
Again, guys, it's just
Because
really
that's just the
awesome
way I
channel
roll.
too. Please do
So, do you
remember
think that's
to
1 meter
subscribe
away?
to these guys. Really awesome.
Right. You've got to stay still, remember?
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we don't need to watch all that. We're going to get the first one. This is the first one. 12 millimeters. The distance was 1 meter away. Do you see what just the focal length alone does to that? Remember when we showed you that? Remember, look up when you're standing, different to that. Look up high, but obviously remember he changed his height looking up to her as well. So he had changed the parallax to her. Okay, we can carry
Here,
on.
firstly, how much of the vertical frame Shiana is taking up, which I would say is around 75%.
100%. So yeah, it's got a field of view, and Shiana is taking up about 75% of that field of view.
Also, notice how far away the church appears to be in this shot.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double my distance. What's double 1 meter?
Okay, double the distance. And then double the distance now. And the focal length has gone up from 12 to 24 meters. So it was 1 meter, now 2 meters. Look how close the church has got to Sienna. She's still taking up 75% of the frame. Do you see the difference, guys? Do you see the difference already? Remember, she's staying exactly the same distance away from the church. He is just changing his focal length and the distance.
Church has become twice the size, so appears to be closer than it was in the first shot.
You see, it looks far, looks closer. And look at the compression is changed a bit on her as well.
So that's my one at 2 meters and at 24 millimeters. So now I'm going to double that again. So what's double 2 meters?
Doubling it again. Showing it again. Okay, now it's 50 millimeters at 4 meters. Remember, it was 25 at 2 meters. Look at now how even, see there, she's already looking, now she's already looking to be starting to look lower than there. At 75% still picking up on the field of view.
So, but I can assure you, it is not.
So now I need to double it again. So what's double 4?
Yeah, you see? Everything is so far optical, guys. Now we move on to
We're
another
going to do one more.
Oh, I think that we skip this. Where is it showing? There we go. It's another one of the 100 millimeters. See, now the church looks higher than she does at 8 meters.
So now we're going to do one more. So I'm going to go to 16 meters, doubling it again.
The optimum relation.
So now this is with a focal length of 200 millimeters and 16 meters. I think Kevin Jackson said he used a 300 millimeter or 270 mil to 300 millimeter length for his focal length for his shot. So this is quite a good reference what we can use. But see how high the building in the back is now compared to her, and she's still just taking up 75%.
Relationship.
So here's the important part. Just to prove that it's my distance that's changing the perspective and not the focal length, I'm now going to change back to the 12 millimeter and take it from this point here.
This is the part I do not agree with him. Because remember, he just took it at the same point. He's taking it with the 200 mil. Now he's going to take it exactly the same point, now with the 12 millimeter. Look at the difference, okay?
Thing to influence perspective, as the perspective in this shot, taken at 12 millimeters, is exactly the same as the one taken at 200 millimeters.
I agree with that when he says that, but you're going to see the difference when it comes to the compression at the back.
The size of Shiana compared to the church in both shots is identical. The only difference being that both look far smaller in the 12 millimeter version because that's what focal length does.
It magnifies it, obviously. But you're going to see the effects this magnification gives. Hence why you'll see the mountains being lower thanks to the
It
magnification.
controls the magnification. If we crop into the 12mm version and compare it to the 200mm version, we can see that the two perspectives are indeed the same.
That's
So,
okay. So you can see he says the two perspectives are the same. So, hey Bane Bear, good to see you. Glad you could make it. Jess Palmer, hey, good to see you. How's the poll going so far? 33 votes. Blackpool Drop, is it only optical? 58% say yes, no 42%. Okay, so I hope you guys have caught in what I was trying to say here. So let's just get to what it was going to show. Yes, I do understand angular size, Sean Hawkins. We haven't even touched angular size yet, by the way. So I'm going to show you guys. This was his together, okay? This is at 2 meters, 4 meters, 8 meters, and 16 meters. This was the 200mm at 16 meters with 75, and obviously at 16 meters at 12 millimeters. Now we put them side by side. The same distance, different focal lengths, the 12 and the 200. Remember, he said they are exactly identical in perspective. I 100% agree with this perspective. It's the same, but there's a difference when it comes to the compression, which he does not agree with. But I'm going to show that he is actually wrong, because if you actually analyze it together, you see why he's wrong. Yeah, he puts them together. That's quite interesting. Now I'm going to put some markers on the screen so you can see what I mean. This is the exact same one. You see, she's standing level, exactly the same foot, exactly. So she's taking up 75% of the frame. This is the 12mm, this is the 200mm. This is where the ground appears. The ground, you see there, look how high the ground looks towards Shiana there. Look how it has raised there. You see with the 200mm, it has caused the ground to look, how can I put, more compressed. It makes it look more that it's going over a curve. Because look at the distance from this line to the jacket and this distance to there. It's almost double. Why? Because it has magnified the ground. This green line is, excuse me, Eli. Stop. That's a beef. This green line is the telephone or electric pole or whatever in the background. Look at what's going on there. Look how high it is compared to Shiana there. Now let's look at the 200mm. Why does that look like it's lower? It's sitting at the second buttons. That is sitting at the top buttons. You see the compression difference here just because of the focal length. It compresses the scene. You must think of it this way. It's a three-dimensional scene being translated to 2 dimensions. So think of it as, you know, in Hollywood they use different, you know, those glass planes, and they're sticking it together with different things to give it a 3-dimensional look. That's exactly what you can say the translation is, with different planes of the distance squashed together to make it 2-dimensional. And that's why you get this drop. It's just an optical drop. Is that really dropping lower than that? Remember, it was exactly the same distance, exactly the same elevation. It was just a different focal length. So, takes up exactly the same with Shiana, but the background, further away the distance, has compressed to go look optically dropped. So, is there more drop in this picture than this picture? No, there's not more drop. It's exactly the same distance, exactly the same elevation. Only thing that has changed was the focal length. I hope you guys understand that very, very well. This is great flutter, exploring how optics can change much what you see, how things respond. Exactly. It's all just optical, guys. That's why when we try and present this to the guys, they just totally run away. Why? Because it's optical. This picture alone debunks the whole Blackpool argument that the Blackpool is dropping. Very, very simple stuff. So yeah, focal length. What is focal length really? Hey Travis, it's good to see you. Glad you're enjoying it. Well, the focal length is very simple. It's just the length tells the angle view, how much the scene will be captured, and the magnification, how large an individual element will be. The longer the focal length, the narrower the angle of view, and the higher the magnification. So let's just see this. This is what's going to determine your focal length. It's literally that distance there. You see there inside there, that is determining your focal distance. That's what gives your magnification. Did I close now with Kevin Jackson? I had Kevin Jackson on here. Blackpool, Kevin Jackson. So this is the picture that is in contention here. Obviously you all know what's going on here. The mountains in the background and Blackpool. Now they're saying because this mountain is lower than Blackpool, it's unfortunately they're saying now it's physical drop, but that's not the truth. The truth is the focal length he used compresses the scene in the background, and thus you get the optical drop. This is what I just showed with this image. That's what this proves. It proves that this is just the compression. Look at that as the I wonder if I can zoom this in. I'm gonna quickly see if I can get it on screen bigger for you guys. Is that showing? Okay, it's showing. So this is what we are seeing. This compression here is just the field of view that's at the back. The depth of field is compressed more. It's like looking at planes of glass. Like I said, it gets compressed. So because it gets compressed together, it creates that magnification. So it's having that rendering of a 3D world to two-dimensional, and that's why this looks smaller, because obviously Blackpool Tower has a smaller angular size than the mountain, because that is what orthographic view shows. But orthographic view does not take perspective into account. Remember, cameras work just like our eyes work the same thing. You can only have a limit to what you can see. So when you look out in the distance, because of the angle and the incidence, the angle of incidence and the focal length of the compression, it has that appearance that the mountain has dropped below. But it's not actually physically below, it just appears that way because shit shrinks and, yeah, compression. And that's actually the whole argument. I don't think I need to show any more of that. Hey Atlas, 13 frames. Can you guys even decide which frames it would be? Maybe 11, 14, 27? Would be nice if you actually understood when you bring your argument up of frames missing, you are literally conceding your horizon is not physical. Yeah, because remember I removed that inferior mirage. By removing an inferior mirage and you're saying you removed earth curve, is you saying earth curve is not physical. So Michael, do you have any thoughts on this that I just presented?
No, not really. You're spot on. If you've ever been to Blackpool, you'll know that them mountains are really, really, really far away from tower. It's just perspective. Things in distance look smaller than things in foreground.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you still got that picture that I sent you? Where I'm stood close to the tower and lamppost looks taller than tower.
You sent it on Discord, correct?
Sent it, oh yeah.
I'm gonna
just show you.
I'm gonna see if it should be there. Hopefully. I'm quickly going to look. It's quite a while back.
Yeah, if not, I'll have a look for you.
Okay. Do you, so yeah, guys. Let's see what the poll is saying while I'm looking for it. Blackpool Drop, is it only optical? After 43 votes, yes 51% and no 49%. I don't know how much more clearer we can make it for the Globe Defenders that it is literally just optical. It's not physical drop. I mean, we've been trying to explain this for quite a few years now. And then when you get the glow believers saying things like digital cameras are not using pixels, then you laugh at them. And then when Ruhaf actually brings up math to show limited angles and validating argument, it shows that the guys, yeah, they just don't get it. They're either that or they're just too dumb. Yeah?
Yeah, I posted it again.
Did you post it again?
Yeah, it's in your private.
Okay, I'm quickly going down. So I was like going all the way up. Woo-wee, it's hot here tonight. It's just getting hotter and hotter. Apparently we've got some kind of heat wave going on in South Africa at the moment. Sorry, I'm still going all the way down. Owen Flatwood, can you send me another invite on Discord? Are you? Oh yeah, sure. Let me quickly send the Discord invite. Yeah, because I know you don't have Discord anymore. I haven't set up Gilded yet. Sorry, guys. Let me just quickly save your photo. Save image. Unable to save image. Why? Open original. Okay, I can do it like that. Let me just quickly get the link for Owen. Oh yeah, it's Owen. Hey dude, I'm gonna send again. If I can get my channel. Channel invite Owen. Okay, I've invited you, Owen. Okay. So let's get to showing the photo. Okay, you want to explain this photo? Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, it's on screen.
Is it on screen? So there's a lamp post in front of me and then there's Blackpool Tower in distance. So just like in Blackpool Swan picture, Blackpool Tower, just set Blackpool Tower's mountains in Blackpool Swan picture and lamppost Blackpool Tower, and that's the same effect you've got. Blackpool Tower's clearly higher than that lamppost, but because it's in distance it looks smaller. I don't really understand what's hard to get about this, like.
They don't understand parallax, that's their problem. They don't understand how parallax works, they don't understand how compression works, they don't understand how angles can get limited, they don't understand perspective.
If you look to end up here and you can see mountains, just that mountain in that picture. I mean, they're really far away.
And it's not really that you guys can see them so much. Hey, Cosmic Surfer, good to see you. A lot of the time, I even saw when Bev was looking at doing his observations, it was very seldom that he really got a clear image of the mountains in the background. It was quite difficult.
I'd like to see metadata of that Blackpool Swan picture because it's been seriously photoshopped up.
Yeah, what he did was he even admitted he used what they call layering. So he takes a whole bunch of successive photos and he layers all the compositions on top of each other to make a crisp image. It's like making it an ultra high definition image, in other words.
Yeah.
So it's a Photoshop image, you can say.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It makes the mountains look like the slap bag behind Blackpool Tower and they're not. So all that play is perspective.
Exactly, it's all just perspective, and like I said, because the focal length he was using, the magnification due to the lens effects, it gives that apparent drop, and that's what I was trying to show with the photo, with this photo. It simply just gives illusion of drop. It's not literally dropping, it's just magnifying some parts more than the others, and because it's translating that three-dimensional image to two dimensionals, you get what to call the drop. Compression.
It's just compacted into the horizon.
Hey Owen, good to see you.
Hey.
Let me just make you a bit louder. Exactly. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing good.
Hey, Owen.
So you understood what I was trying to explain, Owen?
Yeah, I'm getting into it. Getting some feedback, by the way. I don't know if that's because of me, but yeah, I just want to drop my eyeball on a stick diagram that I created. What is it, 2017, and still applies, right? This is just it's a limit of sight. Eventually, at a distance, like even yeah, no matter your zooming capability, eventually there will be a blur up. So yeah, in one picture with that zoom, right, you showed it perfectly. Like in one, it's actually closer, so you can see much further away. Then the other one was much further away, zoomed in, and then it's all blurred up because that's the limit of sight doing that.
Yeah, it's all
It just
pixel.
takes away the capacity of seeing further, like a bubble.
Yeah, that's what I say. That's why everybody's got a field of view. If you think about it, let's say with this person looking into the distance to Shiana, you got what you call, that's why we call it like a personal dome. It goes at 360 around you because you've got a distance in front of you and that distance stays the same. So obviously you're closer to this piece, so it's going to cause an arc towards you. So that's why you have a 360 field view around you, or in front of you 180, left to right. It's very simple to understand, but I don't know, it's as the globers just don't seem to get that very simple fact.
It's not that simple though. It's not
It's
that
very
simple, and
simple.
they've replaced all these mechanics with other mechanics, mathematical based. So this all just bypasses them, right?
Yeah,
Like they don't really want to understand. They just want to reify their mechanisms, which totally walls straight diagonally across the reality
yeah.
as we're trying to figure it out. But yeah, can you present my diagram? I know it looks kind of crappy, but
Okay, let me quickly see where it is. I can get it, everybody. Where did you send it out to me
I
It's a
dropped it in live stream comment.
in the live stream chat? Okay, I'm gonna quickly get it. Okay, is it showing on stream, guys? Yeah, I remember this. Yeah. You want to explain it to everybody?
Well, what you need to know about the diagram is that this is not anything to scale. This is not architectural. This is all impressionary descriptor based on like what the experience of seeing is going to present. So yeah, that's the most important part about it. And then yeah, the main factors is like where does the miraging start? This is the optical slant point, right, where you might be perceiving a horizon, but actually there's a mirror effect behind it that's reflecting the sky, right? That's the point, the optical slant point, where any type of miraging effects will start to occur. And then after, well, further away, all depending on the weather conditions, eventually there will be a limit to sight and everything will just blur up. So even if there's like a mountain behind there, you just won't be able to see it. It will be completely cut off. It will be averaged out with the background color into like one color. That just happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a diagram that I devised very early on to quickly, based on my impressions, try to figure out. This is like before we even realized the black swan, okay, guys? And this is my attempt to really try to figure out like what is it that you're seeing in an orthographic diagram that's not to scale.
Yeah.
There's no numbers in there, just for the record.
Yeah, and this is with refraction and everything. When I usually try and explain the limited angle, I don't even put refraction into it. So yours is simply with refracted variables into it.
Well, the problem is even with the wording, right? And the technical implications of the wordings. This is a huge problem because this diagram is descriptory. And it was even like a big juggle, like, wait, what? Refraction, diffraction? I switched them around by accident for like a whole period of time without even realizing it. Because it's all very confusing. Like, actual optics is so extensive, like how it works. So this is just a bit simplifying.
Yeah.
Just enable you to handle the direct impression if you wish to like get really analytical about your optical sensory, right? That's what it's meant for.
And I think it explains it quite well. It's all just optical. That's how I would say when you're saying it gets to that convergence zone, you get what I would call the limited angle, because it has converged so much that it has created an angle that is now too small compared to something that's closer that has a larger angle, and therefore it occults it. And that's where you see that mirroring effect when you see mirages. That's why it looks like sometimes boats are floating in the midair, or you have things in the distance that's showing water in front of it, because it's just the mirror from the sky.
Right, all depending on the conditions, you know.
Yeah.
One day there's nothing like that, and it just seems continuous further into the distance. And the other day it's like really weird, and then suddenly it's a mirror. And it seems like the horizon is much closer, but then sometimes even you get weird miraging effects in the background, really revealing there's something going on. So it all depends on the typical weather conditions, and some areas are much more prone to these types of weird mirage effects than others.
Yeah, I mean, just the mere fact that there's optical phenomena changing the horizon shows that it's not physical. It's as simple as that, and I don't understand how the globers don't
Right.
get that. It's a very simple fact. Just that the reason you can say, okay, look, the horizon moves compared just with weather or angle or so many variables shows, listen here, what you're seeing is not physical. It's all just optical. Our eyes are optical. The cameras we look through are optical. The telescopes we look through are optical. Theodolites are optical. The only thing with the theodolite is it gives an infinite plane reference, and because stuff shrinks in the distance with angular size, it gives the reference to say, oh look, it's below that infinite line, because the infinite line stays where it is. It doesn't move with whatever in the background. It stays where it is. And that's why when they put two theodolites face to face, let's say on one side of the river and the other with the same elevation, the one from the one side looks lower and the other one from the other side looks lower, because shit shrinks. That line on the scope doesn't.
Yeah, not only that, Flatzai, but I don't know if you get your camera looking at horizon, you set your camera's level, pointing at horizon, and your horizon's in the middle of your field of view on camera. When you start to zoom in, that horizon will lift up on screen on camera. So that's sort of what's happening.
Yeah, you're magnifying it. That's exactly like I said with the compression. You're magnifying to the point, and that's why they get that optical drop. It's very, very simple.
Right. Well, if it enters the miraging zone, then anything can happen, right? And there's very typical effects, and then there's atypical effects. Like, because the mirror situation can sometimes be kind of radical in some locations, and that really results in these weird upward mirages, you know? So it all depends on what's, like, possible. Like, how do the layers stack up in different moist layers? I think it's mostly to do with moist layers and how they kind of naturally separate. It's weird.
I've got one of them mirages where I took in Blackpool. I'll try and find it for us.
Yeah, really quite cool. Because you've actually seen quite a few of those. Even Bev, he brought up a lot of the Fata Morganas with the sun there at Blackpool. That was quite awesome. Where you actually see it, it looks like it's sucking the horizon into the sun. Because it's further away than what you're seeing. Because that mirror is in front, based on the horizontal plane. It's really cool. It's amazing the trolls in chat that's just straw manning. Arwen doesn't know anything about photography or anything, but the guys that's saying it don't even know the difference between physical and optical.
But this is not even about physics optics. My diagram is impressionary. I mean, this is like a personal guidance type of like to deal with partially psychologically, like what is it you're looking at to help you visualize basically on a sub level, like what is it that your visual input is giving you. That's what it's meant for. This is not anything, well, physics based scientific. It's psychological mostly oriented.
Yeah, and you're trying to describe how you think it is. So I mean, I don't see how anybody can be bad mouthing you on it, because they're not even trying to describe anything. They're literally just going and say, oh, I learned school, it is physical, therefore physical. That's it. Even though they contradict themselves when they say refraction, but hey. But that's what you know. That's when you know you're actually getting somewhere, when you are pissing off the Globers because they can't get anywhere. They got nowhere to run. That's why they hate the Black Swan so much.
They don't.
Yeah, that's why they hate the Black Swan so much. Because the Black Swan literally took their own argument and flipped it on the side. It took their own argument and threw it in the rubbish.
Anyway, thanks for sharing my diagram. And
Anytime, Owen. Thank you for bringing it.
That picture's underneath Arwen's picture.
Okay. There we go. Okay, guys, this is from Michael Kahn. This is what I'm seeing. Is that thing floating in midair, or is that just a mirror band? Remember, this is what I'm trying to say. It's on a horizontal plane. So with distance, the angle compresses more. So therefore, you're getting this. This is a larger angle compared to that side. This is a larger angle compared to there. And this is a larger angle compared to there. And as you see, it looks like it's appearing to ramp up. It's all relative to eye level. It's converging into the convergence zone.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah, exactly, Lumpy. Orion is in greater than 9.5 meters, debunking the radius. If your radius is set geometrically only to 1.2 miles away from the observer, and you see it for over 10 miles, you know there's hectically something wrong with your model. Very, very bad. Doesn't matter how much refraction you got, you're not going to get that effect. Very simple stuff. Epic photo, Michael, by the way.
Thank you.
Perspective has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Exactly. Perspective is just simply we see in perspective. It's an everyday occurrence. It's part of your three-dimensional reality. That's why when they bring up orthographic with how something would see, you see orthographic, it shows this angular size and this is blocking that. It doesn't take perspective into account. Angular size is not perspective. It's just part of it. But there's a lot more to perspective than just seeing a two-dimensional orthographic view. And that's also why they hate when I was trying to explain with Polaris, when you see it from the equator, why we get those angles and why it looks like there's an arc in the sky, because I was trying to explain it with the perspective kind of view in orthographic. And that's the only way you can, because perspective isn't orthographic. Gracious Golf, but couldn't that just be an optical effect like you're saying? Exactly, Gracious, it's optics. That means it's not physical.
You can see the same effect on a straight road in some of them when cars are coming up the road and half a car's missing, and you can see that shimmering water effect. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, that little humidity and stuff that's coming off of the road, that little steam and everything, it gives that mirror effect. And then it looks like the bottom of the car or something is underwater. It's not. There's no water there. There's no hump there. It's a straight road. It's simply just the angle that's closer being magnified due to the angle of incidence. Smelly Elf, why can't you see Polaris from South Africa? That's very simple. It's called limited. You have limited to what you can see. If you can show me seeing, let's say, in a thick, dense fog, you can see further than... I mean, I've driven in some fog that I can't even see further than my bonnet on my car. So, tell me again, why am I supposed to see Polaris from... What is it, like... How much thousands of miles away? everything has a limit to view, and with distance the angle gets smaller and more acute, and thus it seems to get into the convergence and you don't see it. But I mean, in between there's smog, there's dust, there's wind, there's vapor, there's mountains, there's many things that are kind of occulted, buildings, trees. Remember, anything that's got a larger angular size than something in the distance is going to occult it. It's just called optical. It's not physically blocking it. This is what I was trying to explain with this video. I'm gonna see if I can pop it up there quickly for you guys. I did a video a while back called Kids Play. Child's Play. Remember that, Michael? Let's see if anybody will remember that.
I don't know, I'm mute again. I can't get used to the mute button off.
No stress. Child's Play. Where's Child's Play?
Okay.
It's very simple, guys. It's just the angle between you and the observed object. It's not really anything difficult to understand. There we go. Here's the...
You can like compare this photograph with my optical slant diagram and actually point out like, yeah, where does the optical slant start? Pretty obvious. And then, yeah, there's an object there. So that's somewhere in the miraging zone somehow. And then you don't see anything behind it. So that's where the blur up starts, right? So like my diagram is really like a determination table to figure out like how do you decipher what you're seeing.
I mean, look at this that I'm showing. Is that light literally dropping down? No, it's not. With distance, the angle gets more acute. It's as simple as that. So the light is having an apparent drop, and now you see this tin in the front. Well, let's say that's a mountain. That's why it looks like it's dropped below the mountain. It hasn't physically dropped. It's just the angle between you and the light has become a more acute. This angle is greater than that angle. So it's having that apparent convergence down into the convergence, and the floor is having the apparent convergence upwards. So it's not physically raising. Now, if you raise in altitude, you see it. This is what you guys would call a globe. You would say you would see the sunrise again. It's not. It's simply just angle based. That's all I was trying to show with this video. Very, very simple, guys. Exactly, Jeff. The trolls are ones denying perspective. This is why I laugh at the guys when they come and tell me, oh, if you lie down and you watch a sunset on a globe and you stand up again, you can see it again, set the second time. It's not because of the globe. It's simply because you've pushed the field of view out further. You've changed the angles, so therefore you can see further. It's simple, basic geometry. It's simple, basic optics. You're pushing your field of view.
That's just one side of it. Sorry to interrupt, but that's just one side of it, right? That's even like that works even if you presuppose that the sun is actually a light in an actual position, right? And then it already works. But you know, when you move vertically, the angle of the sun is just gonna kind of like move with you, and in the meantime the physical objects normally kind of like obstructing your sight or even making the horizon seem closer are gonna like be dropped off. So it's kind of like a bit confusing if you really think about it a little deeper.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just got to do with angles.
Absolutely, it's all about the angles, you know. That's the one thing that is the solid information that we got, and that's the predictability factor, right? That's the one thing that is what the predictions in astrology and all that and astronomy are all about. It's the angular predictions, that the data they have and the ones they predict.
Exactly. It's literally like I said, Mike stands under Polaris. And Polaris would be 90 degrees above, and he measured him at 90 degrees, and that's the GP on that reference. So that would be the reference they're based. So when you put your data and you plot it, okay, Mike stands there at 90 degrees to Polaris, he's standing at that point. That would be the geographical position for Polaris. Now, if Mike had to move away 600 nautical miles and he measures the same star at 80 degrees, he's literally measuring Polaris at 80 degrees. It's an angular measurement. It's not saying Polaris has literally physically dropped dropped as they would like to think. It's just an angular size. With distance, angles change. So it's a relationship that's optical. It's not a relationship that's physical. Well, the only physicality is obviously you walking on the ground, which is distance. So you're getting further away from the star. So because the angle's getting more acute, it's going to have that apparent drop. So that's why you have that relationship of the star seeming to drop in the distance, and because they see the star dropping, they think therefore it's literally dropping and the ground is curving. But it's not that's not the actual how it works. It's if you measure 50 degrees, it's a 50 degree apparent angular measurement. It's not going to be the same as an 80 degree apparent angular measurement, because you are not standing at the same position. You are standing at a different position, looking at the exact same star. Very simple stuff. So this is how they get the relationship.
It's simple in its data, right? The data is very minimum and it's very persistent. But to actually get a mental grasp on what's going on, not that simple. Let's just be fair.
Yeah. Look, it's difficult for a person that's been taught, if I measure 20 degrees above the horizon, that means it's literally 20 degrees above the horizon. It's difficult for them to understand that it's just optically 20 degrees above the horizon. Because remember, when you're moving your distance away, you can't keep it at 90 degrees while you're moving away. That's physically impossible, because the angle is becoming more acute. So you're moving your field of view with you the further you move away from that object. So that's
right,
why
with the physical object, right?
Yeah, it's not
that always
physically.
works, but I always want to keep a distinct difference, a border, if you will, between the celestials and their angles, but no angular size change ever. Let's just emphasize that part. And the physical objects on the Earth that we can actually see and approach and see their angular size increase and all that. You know, there's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, 100%
Right.
agree. No, it's true. Look, nobody can actually say the luminaries are physical objects. That's just assumption based on belief as well. If you say, let's say it's a planet and stuff, hey, but I looked through my telescope. Yes, what you're looking through a telescope, no one denies what you're seeing. But the problem comes when you make an assumption on physicality and what it is and where it is. Because you can only see its angular size. That's it. Now, what's based further on that is based on a mathematical model that, like I showed with Fight the Flat Earth debate, which can be debunked. Maths is not reality. Just because you have a mathematical model, which the globe is based on, that's all it's based on, is a mathematical belief-based model. Doesn't mean it shows reality. It just shows that your maths is, how can I say, reifying itself into existence. That's why there's so much holes in the heliocentric model when it comes to them having to change the narrative, because they keep finding things wrong with it because that wasn't reality in the first instance. If your model was correct, you wouldn't need to change the story all the time. You wouldn't need to bring dark matter into the equation, or now bring gravity into fourth dimensions and new dimensions of this and relative motions for that, you understand? Because they're just painting themselves into a corner when they have to keep making new things up, like quantum foam, because they
It's like
yeah
it's like intellectual bureaucracy. They just keep on like keeping you occupied. It's exactly bureaucracy's strategy, effectively.
yeah they because they keep on having to make new. It's, how can I put it, it's like having a vase of china and it fell into pieces. Now you're busy gluing it back together, and every time you think it's finished you find another piece that's missing, and because it's missing now they have to make up a piece to glue it in, because they can't find the piece, just so they can say, okay, look, the vase is complete. But it's not. That's how their model is. It's all based on broken shards, because it's based on a model that isn't perfect in the first instance. It's all based on belief of a mathematical construct, and that mathematical construct is not based in reality. It's based on a belief of what they think reality is, and that is the issue with the heliocentric model.
Right, and there's this one perfect example to, yeah, really emphasize exactly the point that you were just trying to make, and that is the Einstein gravity mathematical model versus the Newtonian gravity model, and the math of both are like fundamentally incompatible. They're so incompatible that like this is like one of the big obstacles in the mathematical community, and they just can't get it right. And it was even mentioned that this very thing was mentioned in the Interstellar movie, right? In one of
Yeah.
their mathematical rants, because it's a real thing, right? And it's like this fundamental incompatibility that they just leave it there, and everybody, it's like, just avoid it. This is one of the things that just make people naturally go and avoid their inner problems, because with the globe model, if you really believe in this and you keep going with it,
Yeah.
if you're not careful and you stumble too deeply on the information, you will like be so shocked that you could like get nightmares and depression from it.
Yeah.
So all learn to keep their instinctual distance, like not get too informed.
What, and have you seen on Google Earth how weird Antarctica sees the middle? Why has it got this weird cross in the middle? I just saw that the other day. I was like, what the hell's going on here with this cross? Is it because they have to stitch and wrap it around to something? So yeah. But like I said, if they can prove to us that their model is true, then why would they have to keep on changing everything? You wouldn't need to change it if it's true. Hey, hey Dan the Waterman, good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
What is that?
Sorry? Oh, did you see it?
What is that video?
The video?
Yeah, you're playing it.
No, it's not playing.
Weird
It's me
big
on Google
Pac-Man
Earth.
thing.
I'm on Google Earth.
Flatzite.
Yeah.
Flatzite, show that on Captain Caveman post.
Oh yeah.
yesterday.
I'm gonna quickly try and find it.
But what is it?
That's
So there's like this little circle Pac-Man thing on Antarctica, Arwen, and Captain Caveman shared a video yesterday. When you zoom in on you got the street view, you end up inside like an office block, and you can see out the window and there's like trees and stuff.
Oh yeah, it is.
Ah, they're just fucking with everybody.
Check here. It's quite interesting, but I can't get it right on mine though. So I don't know if they've changed it, because I think this is an old video though.
Because they know people's attention are drawing towards this
you
as
seeing
the
here?
big mystery. They're just trying to
Yeah, they're trying. But che-
exploit our curiosity.
But
And
che-
the average curiosity that's slowly through flat Earth being driven towards the poles. So
yeah. But check it this. This is
And by the way, been doing this sort of thing for a long time. I mean, constant weirdness with Google Maps and all that.
But we've
That's
seen
been
them
going on
change
for
things
a
as-
decade.
But how much things have we seen them also change on Google Earth straight after they find something so weird like this? How much times do they just go and change it? Because they see, oh, people found out this and they just change it.
Well, Google Earth is just very much like Wikipedia, you know? Wikipedia, there's just like you can supposedly fill in details and all that. And yeah, if there's some agency that doesn't like it, they just remove it.
Yeah.
And it's like this corporate free ground where they just do things, and Google Earth has very much become like that, I think.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? On mine now, it shows a cross inside here. This one doesn't even show a cross anymore. So it's like they've just taken whatever's inside out and they've put the cross there. Check here.
Okay, Google Earth. It'll load up something like this, go down to the flat, no, I don't want to say flat Earth, but
But this
the
is
level.
really odd stuff.
And then you'll see this.
This is what loads up. Well, used to load up. In the middle of Antarctica.
Okay. Okay. But silver, you say, what's so fucked up about that, right? Well,
Really odd.
giant fucking hallway. Right?
Yeah.
If you zoom in on the end of the hallway,
Yeah, what's that at the end there of the hallway?
are those fucking trees?
Looks like it.
Are those giant buildings? And those are fucking trees, right? I haven't done any drugs today, I swear to God. That's, what the fuck? Like, go look for your damn self. Just so you know, it's there.
Yeah, so
Hang in
that's
there.
what he shows. That's what I think is really odd. What would they be showing in middle Antarctica to show that for? What's that got to do with... That's weird. But good video, Captain, guys. If you haven't already, do subscribe to Captain Caveman. But you see, that's what I'm saying. With me now, it doesn't show that anymore. It shows now this weird cross. Almost like a long cross stitch or something. With a Pac-Man. So it used to show that, and then all of a sudden it took that away and only shows the cross now. So I don't know if that shows that to anybody else as well, but to me that's all it shows now. That little really weird thing. That makes you think, do they have it on the other side as well? Like stitching or something. I don't know. So did you get it right to see it, Michael?
Well, yeah, look, to me it's just the same as what I said before. This is just is screwing around.
I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff on it before when I've been looking. Look like big lumps that look like they're being dragged along ice and all sorts of weird things, like weird little trapdoor things, and all sorts of crazy stuff.
I can't even zoom into this one.
Says they probably just do it to just mess with your head.
Yeah, this one I can't even zoom into. It's really odd. So yeah, why would they have that there on that side, but on the other side they wouldn't have it? So it's not really...
What they're watching us so-called conspiracy theories all the time, and I think they play on it because people run with stuff, you know.
Yeah, and I mean it's odd. If you look at the way that cross so-called is gone to, it's cut like through the middle. So that tells you it's like where it opens. Could have been what happens when you're going to open that Pac-Man's mouth. Does that sort of make it cuts it right where it would be shown on the flat earth Gleason's maps and stuff. It was really odd.
If you zoom out about the full turn, you don't get back to where you started. You have to go a little bit more.
Yeah, it was also odd. Do the Globers think this is a real image? Is this a real photo?
I mean, I'm back into this extra land beyond an ice wall and all rubbish. Like, I think if there's an extra land, they're hiding it on Earth for years.
Yeah, we don't really know further than what we know. I mean, that's why everybody has their different opinions on how the Earth looks and whatever. All I do know is we are not spinning around in space on a little testicle. That's for sure. How's the poll going? with 79 votes. Blackpool Drop is only optical. Yes, 44%. No, 56%. Still got a lot of deniers in here. People that just deny optical phenomena. Really odd. But then again, I do have a lot of the globe trolls in here. If you guys haven't already, please just do hit that like button and share. It does help to get it out to a further audience. So since we've already got through the the Blackpool thing and shown it is just optical, based on this, if you guys haven't come in, it's just this alone debunks the Blackpool argument that it's physical drop.
This Blackpool Drop, it's like, I don't know.
Sorry.
I was saying, but even an argument, this drop on Blackpool Swamp.
Yeah, they don't. It's as simple as that. Igor, I am a bit behind, but Arwen, who admits he has no clue of math, talks about how Einstein and Newtonian maths are incompatible. Here's Igor. They aren't compatible because that's the whole reason why Newtonian gravity is busy getting shown wrong thanks to quantum mechanics. So Arwen is correct. As simple as that. And that's also why now they're moving to entropic gravity, if you haven't noticed. Let's see what they can say about entropic gravity. This is quite cool. I like Eric van der Linde. Gravity does not exist. I'm having feedback on your mic, Michael.
Me?
Yeah.
You always say I'm doing that.
Ooh, here's another gravity does not exist. But this is simply what Eric van der Linde said, because he's now going against. Obviously, he's not saying gravity does not exist, as he says. He believes gravity, but he's saying, how can I put this, that gravity is entropic in nature. So now they're pushing entropic gravity. It's been quite a while that they started pushing this, and it looks to be coming more and more into the equation now, which is really odd if you guys say gravity is a proven thing. You say it's fact, it's scientifically. Okay, let's get this going. What you gonna say, from Linda?
I mean, gravity, of course, is something that
Yeah.
many people have already thought about it.
Yeah, so much people have thought about gravity. Remember, he's a theoretical physicist. That already says weird stuff, don't you think?
Something that we see every day, and it's not like it's not existent in our every life. But
No, gravity is definitely non-existent in our everyday life. We have what you guys call gravity because things falling, which is simply just relative density disequilibrium. Things are denser, therefore the air around it cannot support it. But yeah, let's listen what it has to say.
what I mean by that it's an illusion is that one would eventually like to know where it comes from.
Huh. But you guys would have to know where it comes from if you're actually saying it's, what can I say? Didn't Einstein say it's from the bending of space and time? So therefore you've already said where it comes from. And Newtonian said it's because mass attracts mass. So, really weird.
An explanation. Up to now we have, descriptions. I mean, Newton, of course, is
Yeah, Newton described it as mass attracting mass, as a force.
the one famous for first writing down a theory of gravity.
Yeah, the theory, you guys heard that. So we can say it's a colloquial theory because it's not scientific. What was the IV in the scientific method to present gravity in the first place? There wasn't one.
And he could describe why apples fall and why the moon.
Yeah, describe, you get that, guys. He can describe why it falls. We can also describe why it falls, and we can actually prove it scientific. Remember Anthony's egg experiment. He actually manipulated the IV to get the DV. This was just a description. He didn't manipulate anything. He just said, gravity, therefore, apple fall.
goes around the Earth using the same basic equation
Yeah.
for gravity.
You see, guys, I thought maths is not science, but he's using equations to base reality off of. Remember, math doesn't prove things.
But he described it.
Yeah.
He had to assume that gravity was there.
How do you assume gravity was there exactly? He had a belief that it was there. Very simple.
And then had to write down.
Ben had to write. Yep, yep. I still find it odd that he didn't want to be ascribed to this spooky action at a distance rubbish. Whoa. Sorry, it's busy loading up now. Oh yeah. Come on.
Down a law that described that when two masses are at a certain distance, how they attract each other.
Yeah. You see? So he had a belief, then he made a description based on that belief, create equations, because his belief is that there's a law that creates two objects from some different masses to attract one another. No, that's not biased at all. Very scientific.
But he was also not very happy with the fact that he should just assume that these things, these
Yeah.
objects,
Yeah, he's not happy with it at all. That's why he
attract each other and without even
Yeah.
anything in between. So
You know what's odd about this though? If you're not happy about something, let's say you're going to create a so-called scientific theory, and you're not happy with it, are you going to present it to anybody? I wouldn't present it to anybody because I want to be happy with it before I present anything, because I'm going to know, listen, yeah, there's a doubt that it's not true, so therefore I won't present it. That's kind of goes against what science is, don't you think?
So if there are two masses in empty space, there's no
You heard that. There's two masses in empty space, then there's no... we'll see what he's going to say about this. See, I did actually like this. Yeah, I used this in one of my videos a while back. Thank you, Eric van Linda. Yes,
nothing
gravity
that
doesn't
really happens between them, but still they're
exist. See, nothing really happens between them, but still there's an attraction. How can something that's not happening cause something to happen? You know, you can't have something physical happen without something not happening. This is what your gravity is based on, having an acceleration that is not physical. Show me acceleration that's not based on physical reality. You need physicality to have acceleration. That's how physics works in real life.
attracting each other. And he thought that was kind of mysterious and that it was something.
It wasn't mysterious, it's supposed to be wrong. If you thought something that goes against natural physics, it's not mean it's mysterious, it just means it's wrong.
He would have liked to explain in a better way.
Would he?
So later
Okay.
came Einstein, and Einstein, with his theory of relativity.
Yeah, this is because Einstein came on because they couldn't have anything for... Because remember, Newtonian was shown wrong, so now they need someone to fix Newton's blunders because it's based on belief. So therefore comes Einstein and trying to say, well, you know, because you can't actually explain why it's happening, let me try and explain to you, based on maths, in a dimension that doesn't exist, so we can try and get it to work.
Eventually realized that also gravity has to be described in a different way.
Yeah, he realized it has to be described in a different way. I wonder why.
And it took him quite some years, but then eventually he wrote down a theory where he thought
He wrote down a theory after a few years.
about space and time together.
Okay, this theory, space and time. First of all, space is just nothing. It's just space. It's available space. It's not physical. Time is also just nothing. It's a man-made construct which you base a reference on a timeline. So you have a reference to know something. So you can have a duration or something because it's a reference. It doesn't literally exist. You can't manipulate it. You can't do anything about it. So how can you have something that's non-existent because, and something that's a man-made construct actually doing something together in a dimension that doesn't exist in reality?
And then his explanation of what gravity would be is that there's masses which curve.
There's masses which curve. Yeah, masses which curve. It's kind of, if you had to have a woman, yeah, you'd kind of think you're being kind of sexist, don't you think?
Space and time, and then the motion of planets and of.
You see what I'm saying? And if you just listen to how he's saying it, there's so much belief placed into what's going on. He's had already a bias decision from the start, even though he can't explain why it happens, Newton, but it has to happen. So he's not happy with it, but he's going to present it anyway. Then they come and have another guy, Einstein, making the glue for it because they couldn't be explained, but still based on a belief on creating it. So that's what I'm saying. They keep on having to make new stories up to replace something because it is not, in the first instance, real. You're making up a story based on belief on something you think reality works, but it doesn't. That's why you keep changing it. That's why it's not science. That's why it's seen pseudoscience, and that's why it's never ever been scientifically validated. That's why when you ask someone today, what is gravity? They cannot tell you what is gravity. They can't. There's no such thing as gravity. From the fundamental basis of when it started to where we are now, it changes because gravity doesn't exist. It's based on a mathematical belief system of a model that needs it.
The Earth around the Moon, or the Moon around the Earth, is then described by thinking about moving in this curved space-time.
Yeah, moving in, let's say, moving in nothing, guys. He's moving in nothing. So he's curving nothing in a fourth dimension in a man-made concept to get his gravity.
And how then objects are making their orbits.
Orbits. I still haven't got from FTFE how orbit is scientifically validated, guys. Remember, I asked him a very simple question. What is an orbit? How do you scientifically validate it? And he was trying to reverse the burden of proof onto me. So yeah, if you haven't watched that debate yet, do go. It is on my channel. Shame.
And the reason they go around then in circles is that that space and time itself is curved in the sense.
How is something that's a space, there's nothing there, curved, it doesn't have a shape? And how is a man-made construct, time, that's also not physical, curve?
Sense that things don't move in straight lines anymore, they go around. So that was his explanation, but he had to write down equation for it.
Yeah, he had to write down an equation for it to describe his belief system, exactly.
Which again assumed that gravity is there because he basically wrote down that the matter curves the space-time.
Yeah, exactly. Curve in space-time.
So in a certain way that's still an description, or what I should say is, well, one would like to understand again why this description sort of...
why there's a description. Yeah, he's got a description. Why? Because it's based on a belief, and he has to fix the blunders of Newton, and now you guys have to fix Einsteinian gravity because that's also shown false now too.
Well, how you can understand it from a more basic point of view.
Yeah.
So what I've done in my paper is try to start from a from a point of view where you
start from. Remember, he's starting from a point of view on his paper, guys.
Don't assume gravity to be there. You
don't assume gravity to be there. That's a great start. Okay.
Would like to explain it by seeing how you can derive it from a more microscopic set of equations where gravity.
No. I understand you want to make it from assuming it's not there. That's 100%. That's good because it isn't there. But then when you want to have to derive it from equations, you're not doing science. You're doing math. You're taking reification belief and just trying to reify it into reality once again. Therefore, it's not real.
Gravity itself is not assumed, but then just follows from a certain logical reasoning.
Okay. Logical reason, guys. He thinks it's logical reason. well, gonna get that like that while I'm waiting for that ad to stop. Very, very weird. Have you read his paper, Gracious Cove? To an extent, yes, because I actually like Eric van der Linde. He's one of the first things I actually came into before I got into Flat Earth, I was reading his stuff, so yes, definitely. Entropic gravity, it's the way to go. I mean, really. Okay, so let's see what else he has to say, guys. How should we think about the forces that exist to create the illusion of gravity? But remember, gravity is not seen as a force, so how do you have it if it's not seen as a force?
Very tiny particles. And it turns out that things like positions and velocities are not very precisely defined.
Oh, they're not very precisely defined. I thought the heliocentric model is very, how can I put it, accurate to the millisecond and stuff, so it's not precisely defined, guys. Really odd that one of your leading theoretical physicist is saying it's not precisely defined.
You have to take into account the fact that there's an uncertainty in
the uncertainty principle. Yes, there's a reason why that's there, because it doesn't exist, remember?
Look at something. We may influence the measurement, but we may also just...
so you may influence the measurement. So, because you actually admitting you may influence the measurement means it's not science, therefore it means it has a bias. Therefore it's pseudoscience, guys.
A fundamental limit on how...
yes. You can see the clock's turning in his head trying to figure out how to make this work.
Precise, you can understand the position or the velocity of a particle. They cannot be not both described infinitely precise.
Yeah, they cannot be described precise, exactly, because it's based on a belief model.
So taking gravity into account then gives us a bit of a problem, because then we have to talk about space-time, and then these quantum uncertainties gives us another way of looking at.
Yeah, very understand. Flat for life. Everything you thought you knew about gravity is wrong. 100% agree. What did the Washington Post say? We're going to get onto that now. Let's first thank you for that, dude. Really appreciate it. I didn't miss any super chats, did I? I don't think so. Okay. Again, thank you all for being here. Please just hit the like button and share button. Let's get it going to the people. So let's get on.
At space-time at the short distances. So this led to problems, and string theory is another.
String theory, oh. The name says it all, string theory, guys.
A way of also looking at gravity and quantum mechanics.
Yeah, quantum mechanics, the thing that...
which I've been working on quite a bit.
Quantum mechanics.
So people have studied...
Quantum mechanics, the thing that does debunk relative... GR at the moment. I see it, that's what's perspective. The cogs are turning, yeah. Exactly, Tony. There are literally no... there's issues, and they have to try and get around these issues.
The problem of quantum gravity, quantum mechanics and gravity from various perspectives, from string theory, but also by thinking, for instance, about black holes, what happens.
Oh, black holes, yeah. Remember, black holes have to come into it, definitely. Hopefully it's going to bring up some quantum foam here, because that's going to be quite cool.
With black holes. And I've taken some of the things we've learned about it and seen that there is some explanation of maybe where gravity then comes from.
Okay. So you don't actually know where gravity comes from, you're just making assumptions on what you think where it can come from, okay?
From those new way of thinking about quantum mechanics and gravity.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you then start trying to explain where it comes from, it has to do with the fact that there's
okay, sorry guys that I still have to keep pausing it, but we don't want any copyright strikes, because I get a lot of trolls in here that like to report me for some odd reason.
Microscopic scale, a certain information about how you describe this, which we don't see ourselves.
We don't see ourselves.
We forget about that.
Yeah.
And it turns...
We don't see it ourselves, guys, but we can say it's there, but we don't see it ourselves, remember?
So that if you
It's faith-based.
take that into account in some appropriate way, that you can understand where gravity comes from.
Okay, where gravity comes from. Okay. When other people talk about gravity, what are they describing? Obviously, you don't have to read all that. I want to see where he says gravity is not real. Does your research have any implications for our daily lives? This is quite a good one. Let's see what he says. Quantum foam is ether. The quantum foam ether. Yeah, Lappy. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to start lumping that together.
It's fun to think about things like gravity and even, well, what I had in my paper, things like even the laws of Newton, because
Okay, it's fun to think about it. Let's see why.
they do play a role in one's everyday life. But
Where?
it's surprising that
Where do they play a role in one's everyday life? I know relative density plays a role because things are denser and it cannot support it, but I don't see gravity playing any role. Just because you guys call it gravity doesn't mean it plays a role. You guys don't even know how to define it. You don't know what it is, and you can't scientifically validate it, and it's based on a belief.
when I go and walk out the door and something like that, it's not like I immediately sort of think about these things in a different way.
Yeah.
But
Yes, okay.
for me, I think it's more important eventually what will be the implications for understanding not just gravity, but also what's happening in
How can you understand gravity if you don't even know what it is? It's kind of a contradictory claim, don't you think? Understanding something you don't even know what it is.
the universe. I mean, the gravity equations of Einstein are also used in describing the
Yeah,
expansion of the universe.
yeah. Using it for expanding more belief. Expansion of the universe is based on belief. Remember, everything you guys are basing your model on is based on equations describing based on a belief.
Big Bang theory.
The Big Bang Theory, which defies all logic and thermodynamic processes.
Are all based on these same equations.
Yeah, all based on these same equations, proving that it is not reality. Math is debunked, remember? Like when I had the ice pack or the cup for everybody to know. Do go and watch that debate against me and FTFE where I explained to him why math is not reality and proven.
What I hope is that the ideas that we are now starting to develop for gravity can eventually sort of lead to possibly somewhat better or
Okay.
even more refined way.
Measure it at your own risk. At the end of the day, all you guys are doing is looking at the explanation for reality and calling the explanation wrong. The reality is still that the Earth is a sphere, is space. First of all, write a coherent sentence. Second of all, no. Gravity, you can't even describe gravity. You don't know what it is. And we can scientifically validate relative density disequilibrium. We can literally do an hypothesis, an experiment. We can physically describe it. We can show it to you. Gravity keeps changing and placed in man-made concepts that cannot be observed. Yeah, not reality. Sorry, man. Hey, Uncommon Sense, good to see you. Glad you could make it.
Of thinking about the early universe, and I think that will influence a little bit more my thinking than.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I think as human beings we like to know where we come from, and
Yeah, we like to know where we come from. But as you guys said, gravity doesn't exist. Really awesome. Okay, let's see what this says. No, I don't need to get any weeks free. This is from the Washington Post. Thanks, dude, for giving this to us. Everything you thought you knew about gravity is wrong. What you think you know is a series of illusions. Kind of telling, you know, like a magic show does with illusions. Perspective by Richard Panik. Richard Panik is a Guggenheim Fellow in Science Writing and an author in The Trouble with Gravity, solving the mystery beneath our feet. Okay. Don't you just love this photograph, guys? Yeah. Okay, we don't know what gravity is. There we go, guys. Game over. We can just go home now. It's over. We don't know what gravity is. Say that to an average person, and the answer you'll probably get is some version of, what are you talking about? Gravity is the force of attraction that makes things fall straight down. Obviously, that's people that don't actually know what gravity is, because that's what they do. They just parrot what they learned. But says it to a physicist, and the answer you'll get is, that's right. Kind of a contradictory statement, because it's not right. So a physicist is supposed to tell you, no, sorry, gravity is not a force, so it's not a force of attraction, because there's no force. Anyway, I know because there are two answers I've been getting for the last few years, ever since I figured out that nobody knows what gravity is. And that just about nobody knows that nobody knows what gravity is. Also true, because nobody knows what it is because it doesn't exist. It would exist. You would know what it is if it did exist. The exception is physicists. They know that nobody knows what gravity is because they know that they don't know what gravity is. Wow. The assumption that they do, that we all do, is understandable. Unless you think hard about gravity, your brain does what it evolved to do. Oh man, evolution, what rubbish, bogus. It associated gravity with your relationship to the ground beneath your feet. See, a belief. I'm on the ground, therefore I'm not flying into space, so gravity. Circular reasoning, ever heard of it? The assumption that they do, that we all do, is undeniable. Unless you think hard about gravity, your brain does, okay, beneath your feet, you don't have to think about gravity because you don't know it's because... What? You don't have to think about gravity because you know it is in your bones. No, sorry, I don't have to think about it because it doesn't exist. But if you do think about it, you can begin to realize that what you know is in fact a series of illusions. These misunderstandings make the universe more navigable, physically and psychologically, and also leave it less mysterious. Ooh. Gravity is mysterious, remember? Consider the assumptions underlying that common answer. Gravity is the force of attraction that makes things fall straight down. Well, yes. Depending on what you mean by force, we can say gravitation is one of the four fundamental forces. But it's such an outlier that the word force becomes nearly meaningless. The strong nuclear force which keeps atomic nuclei intact is about 100 times stronger than the electromagnetic force. Which creates the light spectrum, which in turn is up to 10,000 times stronger than the weak nuclear force which facilitates the subatomic interaction responsible for the radioactive decay. Three forces were all within 6 orders of magnitude, one for another. Then comes gravitation. It's all about 1,000,000 billion times weaker than the weak nuclei. That's quite weak, don't you think? To put that discrepancy in perspective, you can try this experiment at home. Place a paperclip on a tabletop. There it remains, unmoving, anchored to its spot by its gravitational interaction with the entire planet beneath it. No, that is again just your belief, and you're begging the question and affirming the consequence. Wow. And having a circular argument. Because you say you've put it down there, it's not moving, therefore gravity exists. It's called circular reasoning. It's not. The paperclip is denser than the air around it. The table is supporting it because it's sitting on something physical. That's all it is. But okay. The Earth's mass is 6.5.3 tons. A paperclip mass is 4/100th of an ounce. Now take a refrigerator magnet and wound it up over the paperclip. Presto! You have counteracted the gravitational force of the entire Earth with a wave of your hand. So I can lift things up. I'm stronger than gravity. No, mate, you're not stronger than gravity because gravity doesn't exist. Even more unearthing is physicists that the gravitation is only force that doesn't have a quantum solution. a theory that explains the force in terms of subatomic particles. The strong nuclear has quantum chromodynamics, electromagnetism has quantum electrodynamics, the weak nuclear has quantum flavor dynamics, flavor dynamics, what a name, gravitation has quantum Bupkis dynamics, the discovery of gravitation, a hypothetical particle that would mediate the nature of gravity's behalf in the same way to the gluon does for a strong nuclear. The photon does for electromagnetism, and the W and Z bosons for the weak nuclear. Would help, but if it exists, it has escaped detection with a cunning unparalleled in quantum experiments. Yes, quantum mechanics debunks gravity, guys. So let's strike force from our answer. In that case, gravity is the attraction that makes things fall straight down. While yes, depending on what we mean by attraction, two bodies of mass don't actually exert some mysterious tugging on each other. Hence, Cavendish, which you guys claim, it doesn't actually do that. Newton himself tried to avoid the word attraction for the very reason. All he was trying to do was find the math to describe the motions both down here on Earth and up there among the planets. Seen trying to describe things based on a belief. Anyway, of which Earth, thanks to Copernicus and Kepler and Galileo, was one. Yeah, the Copernicus model. Still, he was powerless as a paperclip once the idea attraction at a distance electrified the public. Ooh. So gravitation is what makes things fall straight down. Well, yes, no, that's not true, but okay. Depending on what you mean by straight down, the path seems straight only because you're standing still relative to the Earth. No, I'm standing still because I'm standing still. I'm sitting on a chair which is firmly planted on the ground, which is not moving. If you believe it's moving, it's you having a belief again, and you should go see a consultant or doctor for that, because there might be something wrong. As Galileo realized, if you drop a rock from the mast of a ship traveling on a river, its trajectory will appear to be at an angle to an observer on the shore, similar to someone outside the Earth who is observing a rock falling on a spinning planet. The path would appear to be at an angle, but the Earth is also orbiting the Sun, so that angle would actually be swooping, creating the appearance of a curve. So in other words, Coriolis. Okay, and because the Sun is orbiting the center of the galaxy, that curve would be a very long curve. And the galaxy is moving towards another galaxy, and the universe is expanding and expanding and accelerating. How long and curlicue the rock's trajectory appears depending on wholly and where you are. And all this based on something that is not even a force. How do you get this working if there's no such thing as a force? Well, yes, depending on what you mean by fall, we can just easily argue that Einstein did expand on Galileo's ship's shoreline relativism, that the rock isn't falling towards the Earth, but the Earth is rising towards the rock. Can I really... I have to point out what is wrong with this. This is based on Einstein, guys. Shapes. This is the Earth. Remember, it says the Earth is rising to catch everything. Which direction is Earth rising again? In every direction. Would that mean the Earth should be expanding in every direction? Is it expanding because it's rising all the time? Because is it literally changing its size now? Because that's what this means. Depending on what it means by gravity, what centimeter, nothing may predict. Might depend on what happens to black. Okay, now where are we? Oh, there we. But the Earth is rising towards the rock, so that means if Tom is standing here, the Earth is rising there. Harry is standing there, the Earth is rising there. If Mike is standing there, the Earth is rising there. So that means the Earth is supposed to be expanding constantly because it's rising up. Do we see this happen? No. So that already debunks Einstein if you just use normal logic. Well, yes, depending on what you mean by is, we know what gravity does in the sense that we can mathematically measure and predict its effects. Maths is not reality. We might anticipate what happens to two black holes collide or when they let go of a rock, but we don't know how it does and what it does. We know what its effects are, and we can give the name gravity to the cause of those effects, but we don't know what the cause of that cause is. If you don't know what the cause is, you don't know what it is. It means you just have a belief, you don't have science, and as far as we know, gravity is supposed to be scientifically validated. So this paper shows it's all pseudo-scientific. Thank you very much. Well, obviously we don't have to read the whole paper because he's saying the same thing the whole time. Okay, it's almost finished, so we can. Not that cosmologists particularly care. Of course they don't care because it goes against their religion. In science, knowing what you don't know is a good start. No, in science, knowing what you think causes the effect is a good start. You observe something, you think there's a cause for that effect, so therefore I think this is the cause. You go make a hypothesis, this is the cause, you test it out, you make predictions on that test, and then you can go further from that. If there's no cause, you don't know anything, then it's not science. So yeah, this is just them putting a blind eye to them having a belief of it. So perhaps the key to understanding the universe is the most fundamental level. Until they will, they will work with what they do know, no matter what every bone in their bodies tells them. Gravity is not a force of attraction that makes things fall straight down. I agree, because gravity doesn't exist. It's the same as saying, thanks to what's the name? You can think of gravity as a force, but not really on the really is level. I wish I had that thing with me right now, but yeah. George Massa. It's just from George Massa. Wow, guys, I think this from the Washington Post is very telling that gravity is just not real. It's all just belief, and not knowing what it is definitely not science, just pseudoscience, guys. Well, I don't think I'm going to have a very late evening tonight because like I said, it is my wife's 12-year anniversary. I had a great day and everything, and I don't want to be too late tonight. So yeah, if there's anything that you guys want to say in chat, you're more than welcome before we can close off. Banjo Boo, Owen always reverts to insults when past press for answers. No, if he says you're a numpy dipshit, Banjo, that means you're a numpty, because it's a fact. There's a difference between fact and calling someone a name for no reason. 94 votes. Blackpool Drop, is it only optical? Yes, 41% and no 59%. If you guys actually paid attention, you would know it's definitely just optical. Very simple. So if you guys haven't seen why it's only optical, please do go back to the beginning of this presentation of this live stream, and you'll see why it's only optical, because it's got the compression and it's got perspective into it. And I'm getting very, very hot at this moment. So yeah, it's about sums it up. Let's get this up and going again. Thank you, Kevin Jackson, for this photo. It is beautiful. You did some great work with it. Doing it for good charity and good cause, so that I do really find a good thing. But like I said, all of this is, that's compression in the background thanks to the focal length and the layering, because when you look through a camera, you are having a three-dimensional reality being translated to 2 dimensions. So it's the same as like when they take with Hollywood and they take 2-dimensional planes and they stick it to each other to make it look 3-dimensional. This is how it translates it, and you get that compression, and that's why you get what you do. Thank you all for coming again. I'm glad you could all make it. I think the next stream will be Wednesday evening. Tomorrow night the load shedding is starting again. So yeah, let's just hope Wednesday will stay and on this schedule as it is, and then we should have a stream Wednesday evening. Hopefully we can. I know Fighter Trader wants to debate me again next week on gravity, and then I got Jack of all trades that also wants to debate me, so we'll see how it is. And if any of you are interested in debating anybody on the channel, please hook me up, let me know, and I'll be happy to moderate the debate for anybody. As you know, I want to have a fair moderated and not taking any bias when it comes to the debates. You saw how unbiased I was when it came to Sean Hawkins and Brian Leake's debate. I think it would got well, so I think it is well worth it. If you guys are interested in debating someone, grow your kahunas and come and debate someone. Doesn't matter on what subject, I'm more than happy to accommodate you guys. No, there's no such thing as spherical drop. What? Definitely nothing. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's time to get going. You guys have all been awesome. Really do appreciate everything you guys been doing. Flat Swords perspective. I'll come on Discord on Wednesday. Couldn't tonight as a Mrs. Steve. Don't worry, PJ. Thank you again for all your support. I do really appreciate you guys. Thank you again for becoming a member, PJ. Thank you, Michael Khan, for becoming a member. You guys rock. Yeah, and all the trolls in here, remember, you guys are only lying to yourself. You're only fighting your own delusions. We can just present you the truth, and it's up to you to accept it or not. We can lead a horse to water, but we cannot make it drink. It's as simple as that. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming. No, Blackpool Drop is just optical, not physical. It can be shown time and time again this. And if you have anything further on this, please leave a comment down below and let me know. Till next time, guys. Thank you to Wolves. Really appreciate it. Guys, cheers. You guys rock. Till Wednesday night. God bless. Bye.